Hi guys, this is GT6. I'm bringing you a race today from Mount Panorama, which is the Bathurst circuit. We've got an online race today. We're racing Ford Falcons with the full turbo kits added onto it. It was a really interesting race that we had last night. Basically I'll give you some background to the car. I literally brought the car for this race. That's how much testing I've done on it. I really haven't done a lot to this. I've lowered it, I've took off some camber, and I've added some tow out, and that's pretty much it. As you'll notice, I've got horrible understeer in this car, but it was a great race, so I hope you enjoy it, and let's see how we go. We qualified P6, and we've got some very strong competition in the field today. And let's go to green. We get some wheel spin straight off the line, but we're keeping up with the pack. We're going to go around the outside and see how many positions we can pick up. Just touch Ben JV, and unfortunately that just spins him round, but there's nothing we could do about that. I mean, he started on the front row, went out wide and got caught up on the curb, and unfortunately the momentum just took me into him. So here we are now second from last. Shanky just completely missed the braking point, nearly went into the back end of me and ended up hitting the barrier. So we've had a clean few first corners, to be honest with you, so we're okay at the minute. We're not breaking any records or anything like that, so we're just bedding these tyres in nicely and seeing what we can pick up. I mean, it's a 15 lap race, so it's a pretty long one, so I know that it's not going to be a case of a mad dash to the finish line. Now we're running racing softs, and we're going to need to make at least one mandatory pit stop. Going car. You see through these tight twisty corners of coming down the mountain. We've got some good traction in a minute, but that's because the tyres are brand new. They're getting up to temperature quite nicely. Now I'm also running quite a low downforce, so I actually pick up quite a lot of top line speed on the straight, and that combined with the slipstream really helps me out. Unfortunately I outbrake myself, concentrating on the guys ahead rather than where I should be concentrating on, so I missed my braking point, completely fluff up that corner. And Skanky Puppy comes back. Not too upset about that. I mean, Skanky, I've raced against him before, and he's one of my mates on PSN, and he's a really good racer. He's very strong, so we know we're in for a good race, so we just need to sit by and bide our time. We know we haven't got the setup because, as I said, we've only just brought this car, so there's not a lot done to it. So I don't know how long these guys have had these cars for. So we're just going to do whatever we can. We've picked up his slipstream, and we're going to have a look into the first corner. We go in fairly early, so we can give him the heads up. Now the understeer starts coming in, so I push quite wide, and Skanky ends up going quite wide into there himself. Ends up hitting the wall, unfortunately. We do the same, as we're trying far too hard than we should be, and just need to chill things out and get things going. So exciting first couple of laps so far. So now it's just a case of getting my head down and catching the pack back up again, and not trying to take too much out of these tyres. I tend to find with this setup that's currently on the car that the rear tyres were stone cold, and the front tyres were well overworked, so I've tried to balance it out as best I can. I've pushed more acceleration to the rear. I've moved the centre of gravity around a bit, and done whatever I can. But this setup is far from perfect, but it still ends up being a great race, so let's see how we go. Now a yellow flag's been called, So we're all lining up, and basically a yellow flag will designate yellow flag. Everyone slows down to 60. We all catch back up again. Rich, he's had to stop because he's out of position. He should be in front of me, and there he goes. He gets back in front of my car. So we're all bunched back up together again. So a point will now be called on the circuit to say at this point you can go back racing again. So it has been called, and it will be the next bridge that we come to. So I'm just trying to see if I can keep the temperature up in the front tyres and especially in the rears as well. So I'm trying to get some temperature wherever I can. Okay, next corner there'll be a bridge, and we go at the bridge. Everyone's backed up, so I'm going to just move out to the left a second to give myself some clear room. Bang, and we're gone. We've passed one, and we've passed two. Take a tight line. Shocker gets out wide and hits the curb, unfortunately. So we're into third place. Now the yellow flag's been called again. Just waiting for everyone to catch back up and get back into position. This is the last yellow flag of the race now. It's been called for the I think it's the next bridge we get to. We all go back racing again. And keep it to the outside again so I can get a clear run. But we've all got away nicely. We've managed to break away from the guy behind us a little bit. First and second battling it out. So I'm going to let them battle and hit each other, and I'm just going to stop behind them and see what I can do. Had a cheeky look round the outside, cheeky look on the inside. Not real room for it, only half-hearted attempts, but show him a nose, give him something to think about, and see if we can force a mistake out of him. Ridge is alongside me, and he takes a position. Bit of a love tap going on, nothing intentional. He gets a position. See if we can keep with Rich and see if we can drag him down the main straight, pick up his toe, and let's see if we can take him at the end. As I said before, I've got really good top speed on this car, so we should hopefully be able to use that to our advantage. Decided to back off a little bit at this point. There's no point trying to take him around this corner, it's only going to end in tears. So I decide discretion's a better part of valour, and we're just going to let it ride out. He's caught right up to the guys in front. There's another yellow flag that's been called. This is the last one now. My apologies. And we're just letting the field catch back up again. And I think the go is the start and finish line. So now we're just waiting. Everyone's trying to brake test each other to try and get a jump. I pull out, I'm going down the inside. I'm ghosted out, but Rich has kept it round the outside. So I will drag him down the straight and see what we can get. So we've got him down the straight, braking as late as we possibly dare, going forward breast effectively into that corner. Rich is still alongside. We may have to give him the racing line and let him through. We managed to keep him behind, but he's bullying his way through. The traction's just broke there. A little bit of a love tap. Nothing that you wouldn't expect from touring cars effectively, so I know my setup's not great. You know, there's a lot of understeer in this car, a hell of a lot of understeer. But we'll see if we can keep with him. We've gone from the trickiest part that my car really hates, and now we're into the next section. But I overcook it a bit, tap the wall and spin it round. I ghost out to save other people hitting me, and that was just me being over enthusiastic, unfortunately. So we're pretty much last place now. So we've got a lot of work to do. The car is handling terribly. The understeer in the car, and I can't seem to break traction enough on the rear to bring it round and survive. So I just keep on understeering all the way. Shaka moves out the way for me. He knows that my closing speed's far greater than his because of the mistake he just made in front. So I was calling to him on the radio, and I said, like, you know, I'm coming down your left-hand side, and he moved across, gave me the racing room. Get out wide, save it, and Shaka's back through. Just the sheer amount of understeer in this car is just a joke, and all the way through testing I've been trying to get rid of it, but I just couldn't. It just would not have it at all. We're in Shaka's slipstream. And go down the inside again, nice and early so he knows where we're going. Give him the room so he can get around the corner. Unfortunately he hits the barrier, slows him down, but we are through. There you go, we're in 5th position now. We've got quite a way to go to try and catch up to the rest of the group. You can hear me just having to wait on the throttle, and I'm waiting until I can get the power down without understeering off around the corner, which isn't great. Now, because I haven't raced this car before ever, and I've done no testing on it whatsoever, I really don't know how this car is going to react to the balance and the fuel load, etc. And I don't know how this is going to work out with regards to how much fuel it uses. So at this point, I'm beginning to really worry and think, okay, what lamp do we stop on? You know, what's the tyre wear like? And there we go. So after 5 laps, we are 8 and 7 at the front and 9 and 8 at the rear. So that's not too bad. We've got half a tank of fuel, so we're not doing too bad now, and that seems quite good. The rear tyres, they're still looking cold, so I'm still struggling to get the power down out the corners without spinning them up. As you can hear there, and I get this terrible understeer as well in the first phase of the corner, so at that point I've got to lift off. I've got to try and get the tyres rotating back and with the tarmac again. But it looks like we're catching. Tyres are grossly going understeery on me. There's just nothing more I can do about it. We just got to carry on. You know, I don't know when this field's going to break. I don't know when they're going to be going in for their tyres and fuel. We're further enough away now from the leaders, and we're not really setting the kind of lap times that we would like. So we know that we're not going to be breaking any lap times. We're not going to be challenging for 1st and 2nd anytime soon. So it's time to put my head on, and I'm going to start thinking about, right, okay, the long game. How do we play this? The tyres aren't happy. They're not happy in the slightest, but we've got to carry on. So what am I going to do? Now, I'm thinking that the tyre wear is probably higher than the rate that I'm using my fuel, so I'll probably run out of tyres before I run out of fuel. So I think what I've got to do is I've got to just carry on and go as long as I can on this first stint. I could get rid of the tyres, but it means I'm going to have to do a few more pit stops than I actually want to during this race, so I'm thinking go as long as I can, keep in the pits for as little as humanly possible, and just try and look after these tyres as best I can. If I can keep out the pits and I can save myself a heap load of time. One's already gone in. Now that's interesting. Rich has already dived in and he's gone for another set. Now I know I need to start making hay now. I need to start putting the pedal down. Christopher's also in the pits and Albie's in the pits. So, wow, we've jumped up quite a few places now. We just need to keep going. And start setting some decent times as best we can with this tyre wear. Now it surprised me that they've gone so early. You know, they've got they must have roughly about the same tyres as me. They've got roughly about the same amount of fuel as me. I think that's a really early stop. Now they're normally running the HSVs, which by now would probably be wanting some more fuel. And wanting new tyres, etc. So I don't know whether they're just looking at the laps and thinking, I've got to get in because you know, I'm going to need some new tyres and new fuel. And I don't know whether they're just looking at that and planning a race based on the HSV. But I'm racing this car and I'm going to race it to its optimum. I'm going to empty its tank as much as I dare. Understeer, just club at the corner there. There's just nothing more I can do. So there we are, we're actually in first position right now. We've got Shocker behind us. He looks like he's going to stop out with me. Understeered completely off. Now I need to just calm it down because I want to push this for as long as I dare push it. We've got some good high top speed, so we need to try and get a good exit onto this straight. If we can get a good exit onto here, then we're going to be reaching 190 odd miles an hour. And if you're wondering where this car comes from, it's from Australia. It is a Ford, and you can find it on Gran Tourismo in the dealership section under Ford AU. If you look under normal Ford, you won't find it. It's not there. It's under AU for Australia. And basically, these are the V8 supercars that you will find typically around Bathurst, and usually race in Holden Commodores and such like. And there's usually it's usually a good party atmosphere when you go to these races, and you know, the fans are fanatically loyal to their badge, and you know, you really do have two trains of Ford. You've got the Holden guys and then you've got the Ford guys, and there's nothing else in between. So you've really got to pick your side and support them. Unfortunately, couldn't get the power down. Slid out wide there. These cars are V8s, and they are currently fitted with turbos, so they are supremely fast. But all that turbo-ness gives us great torque, which is great for coming up the mountain, and obviously gives us good top speed when we go onto the main straight. Just tagged the inside barrier there, just turned too early, expecting the understeer, and it never came. This car, I haven't learnt it yet, it's still unpredictable to me. Get a good exit out of there, so I'm quite happy about that. Try and maximise it as much as possible. All you can hear is the tyres scrabbling for grip all the way around. Quick check on the fuel, got a quarter of a tank. But the tyres are at 5 and 4. And which do I dare go for another lap? Are these tyres really going to hold on for another lap for me, or are they going to just fall off the edge? I risk it, we're going to go for another lap. I'm hoping that the guy behind me does the same thing, but there you go, there's a symptom of my tyres falling off the edge. They are really not very happy. Gets us out wide. Just understeer all the way, the fronts have just had enough. Really, I should have pitted and would have saved some lap time, but we're running our race now, we're doing our thing. The guys who pitted 2 laps ago, you know, their tyres are up to temperature, they're putting in good sector times, no doubt, but we don't care. We're going to run our own race, we're going to let them use up their tyres, and they're going to find that their tyres are going to go off faster, and that'll probably mean that you'll find that some of them will actually dive into the pits and you know, and do a quick tyre change and not take on any fuel because they don't need to. Now at this point I'm pretty much saying to myself, right, I think it's time to get these tyres off. You know, these tyres have just absolutely had it. So I'm thinking this lap, get myself in. I'm taking it a lot easier now because I know that these tyres have given up their grip. So I'm taking it a lot easier, and as you can see, Shocker's closing in on us, but that's fine. Shocker's got to stop for tyres and fuel just the same as us, and he's pushing the same kind of strategy as us as well. Now looking at the fuel again, I could probably get another lap, but as I said, it's just not worth it. These tyres have had enough. We've got to get rid of these tyres now. And hopefully we've done enough by stopping out to help us move up the positions, and hopefully there'll be some tyre difference when we get back on track, so we're going to have the advantage and we can start seeing some decent lap times where other people's tyres start falling off. And I pit. Shocker, however, doesn't. He decides he's going to risk it one more lap. Now that could make or break him. I'm not sure what his fuel's looking like, but mine is not there. Front tyres are 4 and 3. They've well had enough. There's no way I could push another lap out of these. It would just be ridiculous. So in we come. As always with PlayStation, it's going to say, hey, this is how much fuel you need. No, I added about 8 litres, well, 8 clicks more fuel back into the mix. I thought, yeah, that'll do me. I'll take on that. Although it makes me spend longer in the pits, it's got to be done. So there we are. We're all back up and filled. We are ready to go. We are last, and we have 5 laps left. But we know we've got enough fuel now to reach the end. We've done our 1 mandatory pit stop, and we've got a tyre advantage of between 3 and 4 laps. So we know now we can just sit down and start setting some decent sector times. So we've got to get going. And see the guys up ahead, and we should start catching them very quickly. Tyre's not up to temperature, just getting a little bit sideways out of there, trying to put the power down. The rear tyre's probably cooling down already. Just can't seem to maintain the temperature in these tyres. That was a nice sight for me to see there, Rich just hitting the wall and a puff of smoke. It just shows me that, yeah, he's had the best out of his tyres now, and now they're starting to go off. So now it's my turn to start reeling them in. Short shifting, try and keep the grip going. Got a good run over there. Rich goes a bit wide. I'm not sure what he's trying to do, whether he's trying to throw me off his slipstream, I don't know, but it doesn't really matter because this car is set up for some good top speed. And Shocker has finally pitted. He's finally succumbed and he's pitted. And Rich's tyres have gone well off. I'm going to go around the outside of him. And we get the position. Got the guys up ahead fighting, which is good. That's fine by me. The more they fight, the more they're going to be slowing everything down, the more we can benefit. Can brake far later into that corner now and take far more speed through it. Very happy with that. Just trying to look after these tyres as best I can, short shifting where possible, keep the grip rather than spin them up. The longer I can look after these tyres, then the better it will be for me long term. Because we know we've got a lot of understeer in this car, so I really don't want to upset the handling of this car at all. The Skanky knows that we're coming. He's seen us. He was commenting on the radio that I'm coming, and I think we just distracted him enough. Now his tyres are going off. I'm a bit over eager into that corner there, so we line it back up. Try and take it a little bit steady, get the power on. Skanky goes quite wide, but it's okay. That's it. Now let's get his slipstream. I've just backed it off a little bit because again it would just be suicide to try and overtake him into this corner. That gives him a bit of the advantage. I'm just going to stick it down the inside, see what he does. He semi-covers it. So he's looking in his mirrors, he's watching for me, he knows that we're coming. But he's decided to bail. Now he's one of the guys that went early as well, and he's decided that he just can't take it. He needs new tyres, and he doesn't need any fuel, but he needs new tyres. So we are left with the two leaders up ahead. This is Albie and Chris. Very good racers. They've been having this battle all race long. But again, they went early, so we've got the grip. And the longer they swap and change places, and I think Albie may have slowed down for Christopher at some points, and just let him catch back up, because Albie really thought he had this race sewn up, and then he gets quite surprised around about now when he starts looking in his rearview mirror and commenting on the radio, saying that you know, Jesus, there's jam coming in the background as well, and he didn't realise, but yeah, I'm coming. Chris has gone wide, he's made a mistake, that's his tyres, and here we are, right up onto the back end of him. He's gone wide again, that's entirely his tyres. I'm giving him a bit of a nudge on the apex. I know some people say rubbing's racing, but I try not to wherever possible hit them, but at that point you just seem to stop on the apex, and I'm afraid I had the fluid motion to just carry on going, and I couldn't just hit the brakes. So now I'm in both of their slipstreams, and Albie slowed down on the straight to let Christopher back up again, but unfortunately he didn't count on me being this close and this ready to pounce. Tyres begin to go off now, so here we go. This could be interesting, and through one. And Christopher's gone wide, I've gone fairly wide, but it's okay, I've managed to keep it on, and that's it, we're in the lead, we've managed to get first place. And that had my heart in my mouth, I can tell you. That was one of them moments where I was either going to be a hero or everybody in the entire race was going to hate me for it. But the gap was there, you've got to go for the gap. I saw it, it was a perfectly opportune moment. I managed to keep Albie on the outside, he'd braked early. I managed to brake myself just right to manage to make the corner and make Christopher watch his mirrors far too much, miss his braking point, and let him go wide. So now Albie's on the hunt, he's knocking on us, but he's got the grip round here. Now Albie's had his Holden, his Ford, sorry, for quite a while. Oh dear, I think I'm going to get some hate from Australia for that comment. Albie's had his Ford for quite a while, and I know that he's got it hooked up round here. In the practice sessions and qualifying, he was quickest without a doubt. So the only advantage I'm playing now is literally the tyre advantage. Now he's keeping with me, I'm fine with that. Ghosted out there because he wasn't expecting me to brake this early, but I broke that early because I don't have the grip. And as you can see, I went too fast into there and hit the barrier, but managed to keep my position. Managed to get a little tiny gap back to Albie now. There he is, but he'll be in my slipstream and he'll be getting the full advantage of my toe, and I'm doing nearly 190 mile an hour and I've lost it. I've outbraked myself too far. I'm cutting across the grass. get myself back on track. Albie's got the position. I would have yielded the position anyway, because it wouldn't have been fair to me to cut the corner and then keep the position. But I didn't need to. Albie's got it, and he starts lap 14, so I'm going back in chase of Albie again. That's okay. I've still got the tyre advantage on him. He's used up a lot of his tyres trying to catch me. I don't know if you noticed, but he was sliding quite a lot, and he hit the barriers a couple of times on that last lap. So I know that his tyres are going to be hurting. My tyres are beginning to hurt as well, so I'm beginning to brake earlier than I usually do. Christopher's gone wide and hit the barrier, and Shocker is through. Now Shocker was a guy who carried on through the pits when I went in, so he inherited that lead for one lap and came in. So he's got 1 lap better tyres than I have, and it looks like it's showing at the minute. That and the fact that my inherent understeer is causing me problems. So now I'm fighting forwards and I'm fighting off the rear. Trying to split my concentration. It's giving Albie just a little bit of breathing space, but it's okay. We're coming up to my favourite section. Love this part. Get a little tap from behind, that's fine. Get a good exit out of there. Out onto the main straight. All three of us pretty much equally separated. Although I just managed to pull a little bit on Shocker. Albie's slipstream pulling me along quite nicely. Now Albie's just pulled off there. I've gone a little bit wide, which allows Shocker back through. Albie just went a little bit wide there, and basically he took a phone call from his wife at the time, so I won't tell him that he's a bad driver. I'll give him his proper reason. He took a phone call from his bread knife. It's far more important than racing, as we all know. So Shocker's in the lead. He's got 1 lap better tyres than us, and we've got 1 lap left, so this is bad, and I'm being overexcited and trying far too hard. Need to calm down. We can catch Shocker, we can do this. 1 lap isn't a great amount of difference. Now he'll be seeing the same kind of degradation that I am. I think these cars are running about 801 brake horsepower or something like that. Far too fast, hitting the barriers. I'm being too desperate. I'm not being calculated in what I do now. I really do need to calm down. It's not going to come to me if I carry on doing this. It's bad enough that my tyres are completely worn and they're just understeering all over the place, so I'm having to brake really early and turn really late as best and make as best exit as I can out of the corners. Shocker seems to have pulled away a bit now. I don't think I'm going to be able to catch his slipstream on the main straight, unfortunately. He's got a good exit out there, and so have I. We'll give it all we got. Keep it in these tyre tracks as best as I can, see if I can pick up even a molecule of difference in the airflow. But it looks like he's got me covered. Again, trying too hard. Yeah, at this point, I know it's all over. He's got that, and fair play to him. He's done that brilliantly. He's worked the numbers the same as me, and he's used that tyre effect to good effect to win the race, and a thoroughly deserved win too. We've both come from the back of the field, and we've finished first and second. So, again, I tend to use my head rather than my flat-out speed when I don't have any, to see if I can win the race. But there we go. Race from Bathurst, 15 laps completed. Starting from 6th, finished in 2nd, in a car that's completely not set up and it just understeers like hell. And Albie managed to finish 3rd, so nicely done Albie. Taking a phone call from his wife and still managed to finish 3rd. Right, guys, thanks very much for visiting and checking this out. I'll have more for you soon. I hope you're all well, and I'll catch you later.